I've always viewed Israel as an extension of our own community back home in Toronto.
What starts with Israel ends with Jews everywhere else in the world.
It's really important to have a nation that supports us as Jewish people.
Part of the commitment that we make as Jews in the diaspora is not only to support our own community, but to support the Israeli community.
Being involved with many organizations there, that keeps us connected.
JNF helps shed light on whatever's going on in the country.
I think there's some really tangible work that JNF does that you can see on the ground.
We are literally building the foundation of Israel's future, and the best way to do that in Canada, in Toronto, is through JNF.
Education, poverty, healthcare, every aspect of Jewish life has had its impact from the Koshitsky family.
We have these leaders like Julie and Henry in our community that sort of guide the ship and keep us all close together.
They set the standards, they motivate, they drive people to do the right things.
And not just giving of themselves, but they are helping to lead the path.
I look up to Julie, and I have for decades, as one of the greatest role models we have in our community.
Julie was chair of Women's Campaign when I first moved to Toronto. I remember looking at her and I remember saying, I want to be like her. Like, she was so warm and generous and so community-minded.
In many, many places, I sort of look at how do people compare to the role model of Julie and Henry. They are committed and do such a phenomenal job for the benefit of the relationship between Canada and Jerusalem.
She inspires others when she speaks.
When Julie's talking, she has a way of capsulizing her message and getting us all to be supportive of it.
I remember when Julie gave her first speech, she had to give a campaign report for all of Canada. After the speech, my colleagues would come up to me, the CEOs of New York and Philadelphia, and they come up to me and they say, who is she? How did you get her?
You look at them and everybody knows who they are. And everybody talks about them with the greatest respect.
The way they embrace those from across the spectrum, from left to right in the Jewish community, and make sure that everyone feels comfortable, is something that this community needs more of.
They're welcoming to everyone, and they always put everyone else first.
It's very impressive when you look at how many organizations, how much they give, and everything that they do with such heart and caring.
They're some of the most humble people, you'll ever meet.
They became very generous to the Native program, conversion of the army, and I took them to meet the soldiers with their personal stories, how they came, how they were halachically non-Jewish, and they both became so sentimental. For them, this personal involvement and seeing how it really touches every Jew is very important.
Really doing it what we call in Hebrew lishma, which means they're doing it for the sake of doing the right thing, not because they want any kind of recognition or any kind of fame.
Julie and Henry come with a deep knowledge of the history of this community.
Knowing if there are Jews at risk, we're all at risk, is part of what drives and motivates them.
Their passion and their drive to think about the future of this community and the education and how that's going to inform the future of the community is just incredible.
Without them, it's safe to say that Jewish education in Toronto would be lacking.
There are 2,300 kids who go to school every year because committed leaders like Julie and Henry ensure that we can help those families afford school.
They're making sure that we have a better place for our children and grandchildren to live a Jewish life.
Where I grew up, the idea of wasting food, you could say, is almost a desecration.
This year, the funds raised through the Negev dinner are going to benefit Leket Israel, which feeds somewhere in the ballpark of 100,000 Jews a day.
We bring food to soup kitchens and homeless shelters, after-school clubs for kids, youth at risk, you name it. Anything we can do to help them rehabilitate, give hope to the people they serve, to use food as a catalyst to improve these people's lives.
Leckett, with its ingenious solutions of how they get their food, through how they deliver their food, it's absolutely an amazing thing to see.
This is the largest food recovery rescue operation in the entire country.
Just mind-boggling how many after-school programs where parents have to work and these children have food in the afternoon and they go home and they're not hungry.
To rescue food that would have been discarded. What could be a bigger mitzvah than this?
I think the biggest hurdle we face is the fact that we really, really want to grow. We are maybe getting 5, 7, perhaps 10% of the food that's available.
This is worth it, right? This is one of those projects that is worthy of support.
And no matter how advanced a society is, there will always be those in need.
Julie and Henry have an ethical core that is so deep.
Their values are exactly what we believe are the real Jewish values.
It's almost in their core, it's part of their being to give back.
I think they commit themselves every day to being really good human beings.
You will not find another couple like them, so dedicated, so devoted for their cause.
We've been together in business since he finished university, and I would say we've had a wonderful relationship.
Julie and Henry are the real deal. They understand family, they understand community, they understand leadership, and they understand philanthropy.
My greatest joy is making other people happy.
What about me?
People see Julie, out front. She always looks to Henry for that support and that strength, and Henry gives it to her.
And my joker here.